Hey everyone, it's Friday, January 15th. The time is 3:52 p.m. and the temperature outside is 4 degrees Celsius. I'm here at St Clair West Station in midtown Toronto. And the plan for this one is to head on up to St Clair Avenue West and take a walk around the Wychwood Heights and Hillcrest Village business improvement areas. I'll then check out some of the residential streets and find my way over to Wychwood Barns Park. This is the south side exit to St Clair West Station I'm currently heading towards. And let's just take a quick peek out these doors here. There is no exit, but that is a look into the Nordheimer Ravine. I've always kind of wondered what those doors were doing, tempting people to go through when they're never open. If they were service doors, you'd think they would be less visible than that. And this is St Clair Avenue West. There's a look to the east and the Forest Hill location of Loblaws. So I'm currently walking west along the south side of St Clair. And it is yet another gray and rather gloomy day here in the city. Here's where you could find your way down into the ravine. And I think just across the street here is Wells Hills Park. So the first BIA, or business improvement area, I'll walk through is Wychwood Heights. And that starts just on the west side of Bathurst Street and runs along St Clair Avenue over to Christie Street. And then in between Christie and I think Winona Drive will be Hillcrest Village. Not to be confused with the neighborhood known as Hillcrest Village, located on the north end of the city in North York. And I checked the forecast on my way over, and it does say we are due for rain in a couple of hours. Although you probably could have guessed that looking at the sky. And this is the second day of the province's stay-at-home order. There's a 512 St Clair streetcar heading down into St Clair West Station. It'll then continue on eastbound over to St Clair Station, which is located at Yonge and St Clair. There's the 90 Vaughan bus coming up. And the streetcars run to the west, which is the direction I'm heading, to an area known as the Stockyards, which is in the northern end of the junction. I remember a long time ago, in the 80s and early 90s, this building here on the left was where you would find a 7-Eleven. This area has certainly changed a whole lot. That's St. Mike's School over there. And this is Bathurst Street. There's a look to the southbound Bathurst. And there you go, Wychwood Heights. As I mentioned, I will be finding my way over to Wychwood Barns Park, which is an old streetcar maintenance facility that's been converted into a park with various community uses. Here's the lineup at the Shoppers Drug Mart. And this next street here is Vaughan Road. Vaughan Road's a bit unique in that it runs diagonally rather than north to south or east to west. There's Albert's Real Jamaican Foods across the street. And there's a very popular ice cream shop just down there where all those flags are, called Dutch Dreams. And if you've seen the movie Half-Baked, they filmed a scene in Dutch Dreams when it was located on the north side of St. Clair. This is primarily a low-rise neighborhood, although there are a number of apartment buildings on Vaughan Road. There goes a 512 St Clair streetcar. And in the middle of the street here, you'll notice there's a dedicated streetcar right of way. I think that was completed back in 2009. If you saw the video I did last week where I walked down Wychwood Avenue, I'm heading towards that direction, although I don't think I'll get that far. I'll probably turn south down Winona Drive when I get to the end of the Hillcrest Village BIA. That was a Metro Toronto police officer patrolling the streets on two wheels. I did read on Reddit that the police will not be stopping individuals and asking them what they're up to or where they're going or why they're out. So for all the fear-mongering out there and concerns that we're in the midst of a police state, at least for now, I think those fears are kind of overstated. What's interesting here is you'll see there's streetcar tracks. This would be, I think, Wychwood Avenue. The streetcar tracks used to connect to St Clair West as they would head down to the old streetcar maintenance facility. And that's where I'll be finishing up this walk. And if you're a channel member or a Patreon member and this walk looks a little familiar, I recently put up a members exclusive walk where I walked along this stretch of St. Clair in the opposite direction on the other side of the street. I recorded that one after I was finished the walk down Wychwood Avenue, and that will be available for everyone to watch in about 3 weeks' time. I make them exclusive for members for 30 days, and then I post them on my other channel, Johnny Stumbles. And here is Christie Street. So this is the end of the Wychwood Heights Business Improvement Area. There's Wise Guys, which is a well-known local dive bar. And that Japanese restaurant looks fairly new. I used to live in this area on Wychwood Drive, which is just on the other side of the street there. And where this Pico is used to be a Starbucks. There's a look southbound Christie Street. You could take this all the way down to Bloor Street West, where you'll find Christie Station on line 2. And that'll be in the Koreatown neighborhood. So that sign there says Wychwood Heights on it. So when I cross the street, the BIA should change. There we go, now we're in Hillcrest Village. BIAs are associations that represent all the businesses along a particular stretch of retail. And I've talked about this place on my bike rides past it, but there is the Stockyards. For my money, that's not only the best place to get a hamburger in the city of Toronto, but it's also the best fried chicken I've had. And it's kind of a neat diner-style dine-in environment, but unfortunately, as you know, there's none of that going on right now.
Used to do.
There's an old church, St. Matthew's United Church. This isn't usually the most lively of neighborhoods, but there's certainly a lot more people out than this at this time of day during a regular non-pandemic time. As you can see, there's not a lot of mid or high rises along this stretch.
Something of that week has been
And here is Arlington Avenue. In terms of grocery stores, this area is served primarily by the Loblaws that was connected to St Clair West Station where I started. And just a little bit to the west of here, there is a No Frills. Free delivery, steam whistle now available. That's the kind of business we should be supporting. It's good to get our alcohol from restaurants rather than the LCBO these days, especially with the government doing pretty much nothing to help them out. Here's a neat site, a laneway that opens up to a major street like this. Normally it's a lot more hidden and out of sight. So just up ahead here when I get to the end of Hillcrest Village at Winona Drive, I'll hang a left and we'll take a look at some of these residential streets. And I'll find my way back over to Wychwood Avenue, where Wychwood Barns Park is. There's some new developments going in. What a bagel. I think that's related to the place that used to be located at Yonge and Eglinton. I might be wrong about that. So this is Winona Drive coming up, and if you were to keep on heading west, you'll find yourself in the Corso Italian neighborhood, which is a fairly large Italian enclave. I think it's actually bigger than Little Italy, which is located to the south of here, closer to downtown. And in the summertime, Winona Drive was designated a quiet street as part of the active TO program. At least part of it was. So it was closed to essentially local traffic only and opened up to provide a lot more room for families and pedestrians and cyclists to safely get some exercise. Perhaps they'll bring that program back in the spring. Even if there is no more pandemic, I think it's still a good idea to bring that back. And this is heading south on the east side of Winona Drive. And Wychwood Heights and Hillcrest Village are located on the north end of the Brackendale Hill neighborhood. There's a gorgeous old home. It's a neat front yard setup they have. It's certainly quite different from the rest of these homes. And maybe, I don't really know my way around here that well, but maybe I'll be able to find some laneways we can explore as I make my way over to Wychwood Barns. So I'll just make a left here at whatever street this is. These homes are built on top of a rather steep grade. I wonder how old they are. I would guess 30s or 40s. Okay, this is Benson Avenue. Here's a couple of public schools. I think this is McMurrich. I don't know how to say it. McMurrich Junior School, and just to the south of there is Winona Drive Public School. And here's an old Toronto electric system building. It says Ossington Station on it. And I tried to look up the price of the homes in this neighborhood when I took the streetcar over here, and I only found one that was for sale. But it just so happens to be located right along Wychwood Barns Park, so we'll take a look at it. There's a house over there for rent, or rather for lease. I'm not entirely sure the difference between leasing or renting a home. Maybe someone can point that out in the description. There's a playground that I think would be connected to those public schools, but let's head north. There's a really old fire station just up here, if I can remember. Back when I lived in this area, I used to ride my bike around these streets quite a bit, but I can't recall ever exploring them by foot. There it is. Fire Station 314. Or rather, 343. I don't know where I got that number from. Although it looks like it was originally Fire Station 25. And that's got to go back to the early 1900s, probably somewhere around 1910. That's just a total guess. Maybe we'll see a plaque or some kind of marking on the building. Toronto, I've mentioned it before, but certainly has a lovely collection of old fire homes and libraries. Fire home, is that a word? I think fire hall would be the correct pronunciation. It doesn't look like there's fire trucks in there. Somebody's car. There's a lot of gear. Maybe they're just out responding to a call. It would certainly be neat to be able to get a tour of one of these places. So that would be the backside of a lot of retail stores that front St Clair Avenue. And I don't think this particular laneway has a name. I'm not seeing any sign on it. Nor do I know what street this is. There's a look up at St. Clair Avenue. I'm a bit compelled to keep heading this way. The winds have picked up quite a bit. So I guess the urban part of this walk is pretty much finished. Oh, here's that laneway I saw that connected to St. Clair. Although it looks like it doesn't get interrupted by a street for quite a while. There's the back of a restaurant. And a Michigan plated vehicle. You kind of see a nice old building through there. I think that's the church I walked by earlier. Okay, and it's now south down whatever street this is. This is a case of I didn't really plan my route. I just kind of figured I could find my way back over to the Wychwood Barns. And we're back to Benson Avenue. Good old Benson Avenue. And boy, the wind has really picked up. You can tell a storm is a-brewing. So that was Rushton Road that I was on. So just up ahead here is Christie Street, and on the other side of that is the Wychwood Barns.
I mean, that's just not. That was not.
Certainly a lot of laneways running between a lot of these streets here. Maybe I'll take the crosswalk over. There's the 126 Christie bus. So here we go, it's the Wychwood Barns Park. And here you'll find a community center, which is built in an old streetcar maintenance facility. This goes back to 1913. So probably around the same time as that fire hall was built. And it currently houses the community center and various artists, studios, a greenhouse. There's volleyball courts and a dog park. There's some office space as well. Maybe we'll just circle the property over to Wychwood Avenue, and then I'll head into the park from the other side. Certainly a nice old building. And I can only assume that these are loading bays here for streetcars. Although they look to be a bit on the narrow side. Maybe I'm wrong on that. So I think a lot of these are actual homes where artists live. This was used as a streetcar maintenance facility until 1992, and the operations were shifted down to the Hillcrest complex, which is located just to the south of here at Bathurst and Davenport. Here's the streetcar tracks. They're not actually connected to anything, they're just remnants of when streetcars used to have to funnel into this facility along Wychwood Avenue. And this is a sad sight. So in this immediate area, someone on a bicycle lost their life. That's what the ghost bike signifies. You'll find way too many of them dotted all over the city. And typically every year there's a number of different markets and events that take place on these grounds, but I'm assuming they were for the most part canceled in 2020 and probably 2021 as well. It remains to be seen how things will reopen. There's certainly some nice homes on this side. I think this number 5 signifies that there are 5 different buildings on this property. So if I'm not mistaken, right here is Slade Avenue.
So it's like off. Yeah, it's really good. It's like walking around. It's like cool dance.
And that home right there, 14 Slade Avenue, is currently listed for $1,089,000. It's a bit lower than I might have guessed. Just gonna walk across some of this muck here. I just finished going around the property before I end this video. Here is a learning garden. It'll certainly be worth coming back to this spot in the summer and taking a look around when things are a bit more cheerful. It says a unique outdoor learning environment that showcases Toronto's best nature.
I have no idea. You don't know what
There's the volleyball court. And an off-leash dog park. All right, I hope you enjoyed this walk down St Clair Avenue West. I said down, but you typically wouldn't say down when you're going east and west. Through Wychwood Heights and Hillcrest Village, along with some of these residential streets and laneways, and Wychwood Barns Park. Don't forget to leave your comments down below. And if you're interested in supporting the channel, there are channel memberships available on the channel's YouTube page, as well as Patreon membership via a link I'll leave down in the comments. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I will catch you on the next one.